plan of operating the state-of-the-art facility primarily for the benefit of all Antiguans and Barbudans. We hear that the contract to this American hospital management company, which by the way is a Panamanian offshore company with Colombian interests, Panamanian paper offshore company with Colombian interests, that this contract is worth, yes, Mr. Minister of Finance, don't look like if you're in total disbelief, it is worth over $2 million per month. What is all this money for? Have we begun to pay? How long have we been paying? What specific healthcare arrangement is it financing for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, Madam Speaker? Will we have competent medical and management professionals to ensure that the horrors of Halberton Hospital are not merely given a new state-of-the-art home at any cost? Why did the Minister of Health, Madam Speaker, give his campaign manager in rural North, who happens to be my first cousin, a big, fat, ludicrous contract for the supply of all the compute equipment and software to the hospital, to the new hospital, behind the back of the tenders board? Do you know that? Do you know the value of that contract? Do you know the value of that contract?
No, how much?
Let them go and find out. It's over $2 million. Without tender. His campaign manager, my cousin, a Shaul. How much more of this UPP cronyism can we expect on the backs of the same Mount St. John Hospital that has been elevated all of a sudden to some miraculously formed favorite UPP political football? That's what it was. A UPP political football, a white elephant, corruption, buy from Michael's family to never open. And now it is the greatest UPP election card. It is the ace in the Prime Minister's pack. Can you imagine that? They tore us down. Where are we going with that? How are we going to pay for it? Who's going to go up there? How are Antiguans going to afford it? Joy John is crazy. And now, it's the only big project that you can open before your election. It's your trump card. But I want to tell you, we'll be there for the opening. Yeah, we'll be there. Lester Bird and all of us will be there.
Whole crew.
Are we going to talk? We're going to talk. Because just like how you and Tim Hector and John McGinley was all in our cars with the placards when we were driving, booing us for the opening, and were disruptive.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. And we'll take credit. We will take credit. Because you're not going to fool the people of this country again. Joey John and Lester Bird have to speak. So, Madam Speaker, as they fiddled, consumed by their obsession with demonizing and dehumanizing the leadership of the ALP, Halberton Hospital became the graveyard of the UPP's healthcare neglect and incompetence. Madam Speaker, Edward Cope, a tourist, went into Halberton Hospital earlier this year, vomiting blood. They did nothing for him. No endoscopy was done. No blood was given. He bled to death. Jean Peters, a local patient, went into Halberton Hospital and was also allowed to bleed to death. No workup, no treatment, no blood given. Eustace Potter admitted this year as well. He too bled to death without treatment. Terry Bell came into Alberton with a gunshot wound to his thigh, and he was allowed to bleed to death over 2 days without treatment. Kemi Farrell sustained a stab wound to the abdomen late last year. He walked into casualty by himself, and he was totally ignored for hours until he collapsed and died. Ralston Joseph was involved in a motor vehicle accident, and he went to Alberton complaining of abdominal pain. He died on the operating table after an entire day of neglect. Winston Gregg admitted to Alberton after a motor vehicle accident. The nurses kept calling the doctors for over 24 hours. They were totally ignored. The patient died without treatment from a ruptured liver. Carlton Sanchez fell in a tub of hot molasses and was being treated for burns at Alberton. He then started vomiting blood. Nothing was done. He bled to death. An 8-year-old boy was told at Alberton that he had appendicitis. They operated on him, but no appendicitis was found. Soon after surgery, Madam Speaker, he started having respiratory distress. A house doctor was called. Without any evaluation whatsoever, he directed, that is the doctor, to give the 8-year-old boy pethidine. The 8-year-old boy died 7 minutes after. 7 minutes after. Erika Oscar, a patient with sickle cell disease, came into Alberton complaining of pain and breathing problems. They did nothing for her. She suffocated to death. Kamali Joseph, another sickle cell patient, went to Alberton complaining of pain. He was admitted and totally ignored by the doctors. He was found dead in the hospital bed 2 days later. Found dead in his hospital bed 2 days later. Kamali Joseph. A 13-year-old showed up at casualty, Madam Speaker, 3 days in a row during the last 2 weeks of complaining of pain. On the 4th day, the doctors advised that she be given Adamon. She died shortly after. Quite apart from the fact that Adamon should not be given to children. Adamon is never given to children. This unfortunate teenager was clearly overdosed. Those are the horrors that are going on. A lady named Viola, she was taken to the operating room, Madam Speaker, at Alberton for a simple procedure called gastroscopy. The patient died in the operating room during the procedure. And up to this day, family members have not been told why she died. Lisa Frederick, Madam Speaker. Hers is the case of the simple procedure of putting a central line in her neck. Somehow, they ended up cutting the jugular vein. She too bled to death, Madam Speaker. There is also the very recent case of a patient, Madam Speaker, on whom a minor procedure was done in which an IV line was placed in the neck. The patient was found